Hey everyone, hope you are doing well and welcome back to another video here on the channel. You probably already know based on the video topic exactly what we're going to be talking about here in this video. Now, I have to say, this is the first time where I was not sure right away when this all happened if I was going to make a video on it or not. But then as I was walking and approaching the car and started to pick it up, I decided absolutely I'm going to make a video. This is the type of things that can happen, and if you've been running high-speed cars for a long time, making several passes, eventually you're going to find yourself in this type of incident. Now, I have to also say that I've been quite lucky through the years where I've had the car take flight in the middle of a run and it lands on its roof, and when it's on its roof it tends to fly across the ground at a high rate of speed and for a very long distance. I've hopped over curbs this way, I've had it tumble, and every single time it comes back and I'm able to make more runs within almost the same day. If not, I have only a couple pieces broken. Today, a very different story. Let's roll the video and see exactly what happened. Again, something just doesn't feel right. This is probably the time, when you go out to the field or you go out to your drag strip area and the day is just not working for you. Something's not right. You probably should pack up your things and just go home. Well, I didn't do that. And this is the result. And just like that, it takes very little time and we got a problem. So the car ended up going into one of those electric hydro poles that are made out of wood, and it went in hard. Now the speed that it went in at is about 151 kilometers per hour, but as you can see from this type of footage, as I approached the vehicle, I realized that it hit that post, and when it came into the high tall grass, a lot of that grass may have got caught on the car, and then it hit the post and then it came to rest. As I pulled the car away from the ground there and grabbed it, picked it up, I did feel that a lot of that grass was stuck. So I imagine when it ended up coming into that post that the grass actually slowed it down by yet another margin until the big piece of wood did the rest. I have the car here in front of me. I want to talk about what I think happened in terms of the impact and where the initial impact was on the car, and then we're going to go through exactly what is wrong. And spoiler alert, it's pretty much everything. As the car began to veer off course, I have to assume at this point that it was because of driver error, unless I can prove otherwise. Right now, I haven't taken apart anything. I haven't looked into the electronics. I haven't looked into the receiver or the servos or anything of that nature. I will be going through this, and if I do find something, I will make a video specifically about that. It's not going to be within this one. As the car began to get closer to that wooden post, it must have rolled over 90 degrees on its side in some way, shape, or form. And I say that because all the direction of the damage comes from an impact that occurred on the roof side of the vehicle. I don't really have any side impact marks or side impact areas. It could have hit maybe the rear tire and then rolled onto its roof, but most of the damage that I have is on the roof side. So let's take a look at exactly what kind of damage I have here. Here's the car, and you can see right away, we can see massive amounts of damage now. Right on the side tire here, you can see everything here has been obliterated. This main bracket here, probably made out of aluminum, ended up bending over, and it must be a contact point somewhere in this area that damaged this. And as that ended up bending to this direction, it essentially ripped out all the components that it otherwise would be attached to. This screw and everything got ripped out solid. The upper tie rod, or whatever you want to call this here, must have ripped out from this bracket at the end here as well. And then you can see that there's several marks of stress caused in this bracket. It might not show up on the camera as well as I can see it, but there's stress marks in this component as well that it has definitely found or felt some type of force there. So, and as we begin to rotate around and look at other areas of the car, here is the electronic speed control. It was I found it was down a little bit tighter, but essentially ripped off from the mount here. You can see even the positive lead. I removed and pulled out the positive lead here because it got ripped out from the board. That's where it would otherwise be located. All of the heatsink fans have been bent over, so you can tell that something has smashed all of those considerably. It takes a lot of force for me to bend over just one of them. I'm trying to push these guys even further, and I can't really do it too easily and get both of them to bend over. So a lot of force must have hit this, and then moving over in the direction of the front end, you can see that there is some damage, some breakage here, and even underneath the car. I don't know if I can see it exactly like that. There's the lower control arm has broken, and then there's some points of stress when I rotate the steering. It binds now, so I know I have components in the vehicle that I can't quite see that could be binding and bent. It does look like this red piece here that the tie rod there connects into. It has been bent up in the upward direction. It could be, again, the momentum that all these components had, and as it made a contact from the roof here, when the vehicle's moving and all of a sudden stops on the roof, all those components bearing the weight of these components force that bracket up. Now coming here over to the left-hand side of the car, the first thing that grabs my attention, and it doesn't look like it's at a significant angle here in the video, but this red bar, the top brace here, is bent like a banana, and I don't know why it looks more on an angle than in the video. And then if I take a look at even the straps here, this did occur on both sides. The battery straps have sheared off clean right on this left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, it's sheared off clean as well. And if I look further into now the motor wires, you can see these guys, they have been flattened like a pancake. Contact on the top side must have happened, and we even have a tear in the wire there. And we have one lead in the sensor wire that has been cut, and it looks like it also pulled out from the board. I don't remember pulling this out myself, and it could be because of just the top case. Momentum just sheared all this off as well. And then the biggest thing that has me concerned right now is the state of this motor. This is a 1721 2400 kV motor. I'm hoping that it is in a good state still. It does look like it has a little bit of surface damage, not a big deal. I'm hoping there's no internal damage to the sensors, or better yet, that magnet. And then we look at the angle that this motor's on. Here you can see it a bit better from the video. This motor sits way up here at the back side, which is at the front of the vehicle, and it sits very low here on the front side of that motor, which is in the middle of the vehicle. This tells me either this motor mount has bent along with the component in the center there, and you can see that some of that is looking like it's buckling here on the top side. It's bent in a little bit of a weird shape on the top there. And then what I really do think has happened is the chassis plate has twisted and warped in this direction, allowing this motor to kick up as far as it is right now. So essentially, there's damage on the chassis plate, there's rear end damage here, there's probably damage I haven't even seen and noticed on a lot of these components here. The spoiler has been obliterated on the right hand side of the vehicle, and we got scratches and dents and a whole bunch of kind of stuff here on the left hand side. Not a big deal, but it's there anyway. And then as we move to the front, I got damage on some of these components internally that I have to check out. And then what I want to do is investigate what's going on with some of the electronic components, such as the servo and our receiver that's inside of this box. I did not pull these wires out. It's the sheer amount of force on contact that ripped these 8mm bullets right out from the sockets. Now this is very interesting. I just tried it here a few minutes ago. These wires I have not pulled out. These wires actually were ripped out during the crash, and now when I go and try and place them in, it seems like they're the completely wrong connector here, and something has gone wrong. It's probably The connector here on the motor side, these male connectors have been bent and the spring no longer correctly works here. So it looks like every single cable has this issue. None of them are even close to having a tight fit. There's definitely something that has to be replaced here. What I may actually end up doing is just getting new wire and soldering it here if the motor turns out to be okay. Here's a quick summarization of the cost in green, blue, orange, and gray. This represents the cost to replace chassis components only. Now, if we do look at the total here, it comes out to $555. And there's a couple things to this. One, there is risk in this that there are components that I have not yet been able to identify. I have gone through all the components, but I'm willing to bet there's still something that, although appeared to be not damaged, it very well could be damaged and not been revealed this way yet. The other element to this is there are a couple plastic parts that I probably could bend in shape to get them to work again. But again, is it really worth doing that in something that goes as fast as this V2 does travel? I want things to be straight and true. What I did find interesting is that whether I go with the painted body that comes on the V1 or the clear body that comes on the V2, these costs are identical at $110 to replace the body that has otherwise been significantly damaged. And then of course we have the comparison of the replacement parts adding up to $555 versus just getting a brand new chassis at $600. The difference there probably makes up for a lot here when we're talking about the parts that we're going to get. This might be the best option to choose going forward with a brand new V2. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys would do. Well guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video a lot more than I have. And as always, sub if you haven't, like the video if you do, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next one.